Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to the Road Most Traveled. I'm, of course, Samius, and today we're going to be talking about what is literally my favorite dungeon in Dungeons & Dragons Online, Litany of the Dead. I wish I could tell you why I love this quest so much. I have the feeling it has a combination of the fact that there's so many different endings. It's incredibly fast experience if you want it to be. That there's selectable, basically, difficulties for doing the quest. All sorts of things. But for me, it really just boils down to the fact that I have a lot of fun in the quest, so I really like it. Let's talk about the flagging mechanic for it, because it's a little bit different, a little bit kind of a pain. So when you talk to this guy, he's going to give you a sigil frame. And if you open the sigil frame and look at it, you've been getting these sigil pieces through the flagging quest and through the explorer zone. Each flagging quest is tied to the first 4 pieces. That just means you have an increased chance to get one of the first 4 pieces. Not that you can't get the other pieces, and not that you can't get a piece like from a different quest. It just means that you have a stronger likelihood to get it. Okay? And then there are 4 random generated pieces, which means you can go through the quest and you can get a random piece. In this case, the only piece I still have left on me is the piece that I just got from Ghosts of Perdition. I threw the rest away, and it's a random gen piece because it's not one of the first 4. So you can also get these pieces just by doing the Explorer Zone. But doing the quest will guarantee you'll get a drop. Not that you'll get a new drop. Not that you will get a piece that you need. Only that you're going to get a piece. There'll always be at least one for you in each in chest. So if you're looking for particular pieces, it's always nice to have a little bit of help. Now, that being said, once you've completed your sigil, I can't open it. It'll look a lot like this. Okay? And once you've completed your sigil, you re-talk to this guy, and he'll advance your quest, and he'll give you a completed sigil permanently. So once you've flagged, if you decided TR or whatever, you can come back to this quest without having to redo all the flagging. You don't have to go regather these 8 parts every time. Now, once you've gathered them once, you're done. And you can just come back, talk to this guy, throw the other junk one away, and talk to him again and do the quest. So, if you're like me, I love Litany, but I don't always love these flagging quests. Have a good night, Rhett. Which means that I will almost always, every single life, regardless, I'll come over here and I'll do Litany, just again because I love it. Which means that I sometimes will do all the flagging quests, and sometimes I won't. It just depends. So yeah, now we're going to go do the flagging quest. Or to do Litany. And Litany in and of itself, why it has a flagging to do it, right? You have to complete the sigil. It in of itself is also a flagging quest. And what I mean by that is you complete the quest. There are 4 optional endings that you can do. Once you have done each of the 4 optional endings, then you are flagged for the Litany raid. At least in Heroic. I don't know anything about the Litany raid in Epics. I know that there's a flagging mechanic for it. You have to basically redo the quest. But as far as that, in Epic mode, but short of that, I don't know if there's any additional flagging mechanics to it. I don't know if you have to come back in here and do anything on. I don't think so. I think you just have to redo the Epic versions of the quest. Alright, let's talk about this. So we have a couple of things here. These will obviously pop up and spin around. Some, like half of them will spin at the time. If you shoot that lever down there, it'll force them to go. And you can follow this path or not, right? So you can shoot the lever, set it off manually, and then go. That also means that if you shoot the lever once it's going, you can turn it back off, right? I'm pretty sure that's correct. But once you have a path, then you know where you can't go now and where you can go when you're done, because the same ones I don't think alternate at the same time. Oh no, those went twice. Maybe we set the path now? Looks like we may have set the path now. Took damage on that one. I don't know. In my book, I just run through. I've ran through for so long. Don't even remember. But you can toggle the traps on again, off again with the hitting of that lever. There'll be a tainted shadow that spawns between you and there. And that guy comes out of the ground really slow, but he blocks your shot for a long time. As he super slow crawls out of the ground. It's super annoying. Alright, this room is a lock-in room. So you're going to be locked in until you defeat this named skeleton. And there's 3 melees and a caster. So I always like to come over here and kill this caster first. And then if you have the ability to charm and you want to do something a little bit different, you can charm these guys. I thought I had the ability to charm, but maybe I don't. So we're just gonna off him real quick. Alright, now, this guy's got some cool tricks to it. As you can see, he's got flavor text. That one says, perhaps my wounding blade of puncturing will be more effective. He's telling you what weapon he has. Right before then, he said, meet your end at the edge of my vorpal blade of destruction. And now he says, my weakening sword of enfeebling, I be begging for mercy. He'll switch his weapons around, and he'll kind of tell you what he's using. So, for example, if you're worried about being vorpal, he'll warn you, right? He'll be like, hey, you need to consider being vorpal. Healing is... Gotta pick our rune arms carefully. Taste the fury of my unholy burst weapon of maiming, etc. and so forth. Now, you can stand on these little lights. Sometimes. Let's try over here. It is a very teeny tiny little spot, but you can jump up there. There. And you can shoot him, but I usually am not a fan of that particular tactic. I'd rather like run through these pillars and kind of just make him run back and forth if I need time. But if you're in a situation where you just need a minute without taking damage to get your heal scroll off or something, it's a good place to go. Watch your stat damage again. A lot of his weapons are stat damaging weapons. Alright, this next room is one of the reasons I used to really love this quest. And we're going to see what we can do here.
The floor vanishes as you drop into an ambush.
But back in the day, you could come over here, pull that lever and go in stealth mode, and you could wait this whole room out. Okay? But as you can see, now that they changed stealth, these guys are going to be trying to... Every time they flash, they're rolling a new search, right? On you. So I'm going to go ahead and shield lock. which will give me the ability to have my Cloak of Night active. Now this guy has walked over here, and he's much closer, so he is far more likely to see me. But because Cloak of Night is giving me an additional, I think it's 5 to my hide, we might actually be able to just stealth through with that guy. If a Reaper spawns, you're probably spotted. Just like hands down. But if you can pull that lever and hide right here, you can skip this, like, almost this entire room. So having, if you want to skip this room, having some items to switch into that give you bonuses to hide and move silently, big deal. Big deal here. So like there's some shadow boots or something from Sharn that give you like plus 16 to both move silently and hide. Just for having that item to switch, you might save yourself a whole lot of aggravation. So now let's talk about this room itself, besides this little mechanic to avoid all the fighting. Above us, which you can't see, is that, oh, you can't, we can point, kinda. So each of these gears up here are set up to a timer, and it has a light. And once the timer has ticked over, after pulling that lever, the light will change color and the gears will move. Okay, and it talks about how the
center signal crystal begins to glow green.
there we go, right there. The signal will grow green and the gear will spin. Now, that timer will only advance if somebody is touching the green on the floor. So there's a little column here, and there's a corresponding column on the opposite side, which I don't think we can adjust the camera to see. If everybody in the group is standing up here, then this timer won't advance. You can also stand right on the edge up here when the treasure chest room is still there, and some people can end up staying up there and raining fire down below. But again, the quest won't advance unless someone physically pulls this lever, and then somebody has to be touching this ground at all times. Which is again part of the reason stealthing in this corner can really make a difference. There we go. Now we've stealthed our way through. We're gonna walk out a little bit. Some amount of this trash is gonna see us from that room, and that's totally fine. But while you're in that room, after you clear monsters, more monsters will spawn. It's just an infinitely spawning room. The faster you kill the monsters, the more monsters will spawn. But if you just like stand there and let the monsters attack you or whatever, the same amount of monsters will be there. In my experience, they'll just keep attacking the entire time. Alright. Now, we have another interesting challenge that's basically unique to this quest. Let's see if we can maneuver around in such a way that we can actually see something. I don't think so. Alright, I'm going to cast Jump really quick, and I'm going to do something bad here. There we go. Okay. Made it. So you'll notice now that there are little heads, and this sonic damage will, or force damage will spike off on us. Okay. Basically, what that... Why am I healing myself when I have a healer right here? Basically, that's pseudo time based, and people don't like this part of the quest, but it's very simple. I would love to tell you how to do it, but you're just going to have to watch. So what I will do is I will go full screen here. Right? So it's just you, me, and the game. And I will do my best to go through this as automatic as possible, but also as slow as I possibly can without taking a ton of damage. I will not be able to see my life total until I take damage. You don't want Featherfall. You do want to go fast. But you just be patient and realize that
The air grows cold and thick.
If you
Descend deep.
if you get in a hurry and worried about it, you will make a mistake. But if you're calm, you can just ease right through it. See, we didn't even take damage. Right? It's just a nice, easy, relaxed run once you kind of have an idea of what's going on. Okay, now, my favorite part of doing Litany is advertising for my friend's application here. So this is DDO Puzzles by my guildie and friend Grimoire. You can find it in a Windows store. You can find it on the Google Play Store. I don't honestly know. I have a Google phone, so I can't tell you if it's on the iPhone. I don't remember if it is. I don't think so. Maybe it is now. Finally, I don't know. But as most of us play this game in Windows, you can find it here. It's just in the App Store. You can just go and download it. It's called DDO Puzzles. And what it is it's a series of... It's basically just a data correlator from the wiki with like walkthrough, how to go through the pit, for example, and a quick reference. Like here's Lessa's and Clankenbeard's The Pit, which is how I do the pit, basically. It's got the rune wheels and all the different quest area. It's got how to do the Crucible maze. It's got a bunch of really useful referencing in it, including the Litany questions. So I just pick one of these at random. It really doesn't matter which one. I normally do the High Priest of All because I like it. Or Cinderspawn because I dislike it. But today let's do Mintal just for a change of pace. So all of these questions are all the answers are based off of the monster's alignment that you want to go see. Okay? So Mintal, for example, is chaotic good. So every time you have a question, you have to answer either the chaotic question or the good question. So I'm just going to turn this off and put this over here on the second screen. And we're going to basically just follow the question and answers as we go through here. So he's going to give us a thing, and we're gonna ask away. So, what group do we want to seek membership in? Silver Flame. Join forces. What do you say? Never. You're a scourge. That's good. If something has heat, it should be left as it is, and he should deal with his hatred internally. Right? Let's see. Agreed to help the Black Abbot because he was the only one who could save his daughter from the illness. In exchange for saving, you have to have eternal service. That would be... I would do anything to save my daughter. Again, good. And then here it says, Vol wants the litany, but if you find it, what would you do with it? Again, the good answer is destroy it. What are your thoughts? And actually, the answer is I wear it. But what are your thoughts on Mintal? Using his artificing skills to make Flesh Golem is ingenious. Had you been buried in the High Priest when the temple was desecrated, we would have ransacked the temple for anything I needed to stay alive. Shaholth, or however you say this, disobeyed. We would broken the arrangement as quickly as possible. Now we're in the chaotic side. The Black Addict succeeds. What was you basically doing? Forget that. It's not my fight. Again, the chaotic part. What do you think about this guy's betrayal? Let's see. If the Black Abbot offered him a better deal, can't blame him for taking it. Again, chaotic. Rebel, chaotic. They lack intentions. Or sorry, no, they lack free spirit and a good heart. Chaotic. More chaotic is brass or bronze. And then we're going to let the adventurers pass and aid them in their battle. So now we're back to good again. And we want to go to Mintal, the Fleshmaker. There we go. So, again, I took the time to read all the questions. if you just, again, you can do just answers, you can do questions. I like just answers. I like how she has color coded the beginning as far as it takes for the answer to be unique and recognizable. So you know, you can just rattle through this in 40 seconds or whatever. So I'm a big fan of having that reference on hand. All right, what did it take? That was technically the quest. 15 minutes. It's a really long run for me. This whole quest is super fast. If we can stealth through that room, we get the devious bonus, which is really nice. If you can't stealth through that room, then you don't get a bonus in particular. But like I said, this is the first half to what is essentially an entirely another quest in an optional. So, sparkly table means click on it. There's nothing of interest on this table. But as we go around this quest and we do the optionals, after we defeat a boss, a mini boss, and we come back in and do the quest again, there's going to be an item on the table for us to get a little extra help with. So, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the wiki page here, and I'm going to scroll down to the items just to try to like remember which ones do what, because I don't want to tell you incorrectly. But here we go. So like, for example, when you kill the Samius, right, the fire undead fire elemental, he'll drop a cold fire. You can use the cold fire to dispel the force field around Mintal. Right? Now, if you have there's like when you defeat Mintal, you'll get access to a dolly. I'm trying to find the list here on the wiki, but I just don't see it. Okay, here we go. Found it. Sorry. I want to talk about this because it is important as part of the quest overall, and I'll try to remember to add this page to this video. I make no promises. But if you need to look for it, just look at Litany of the Dead and then click through for walkthrough here. So when you defeat the High Priest, you get the Eye of Vol, which is a trinket that lets you have an undispellable ghost touch buff to fight the Ghost Beholder. Again, not super useful nowadays, but back in the day, it was a deal. So then when you defeat the Beholder, you get the Purified Eye Stalk, which gives you a Bane of the Undead Flame, which when you use against Samius, it dispels his fire shield, so you don't take as much damage to beat on him. When you defeat him, you get the Cold Fire, which we talked about beating up Mintal's shield thing. And then if you do the Golem, or the Mintal first, you get the Golem gem, and that makes a figurine that you can use to fight the High Priest, and it makes a Vampire Bane Flesh Golem. And it will attack you, but it'll also attack the High Priest if he's in room. But then here it says it's not very useful as the Golem is too weak and randomly won't do anything helpful. So, again, the reason I don't know about these very often is because I just generally don't care. But if you're new to the raid, it is a thing. So, again, usually I would start with the Vampire first, the High Priest, and work my way around. Because I find like it's the easiest, and then But honestly, they're none of them are super difficult, and you can make your way. All right, we're gonna rebuff, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the Sinus or the Mintau optional here. Again, you pick the optional as you're doing the riddle, and yeah, I like these. I think they're fun. They give a lot more flexibility and replay to the quest, in my own humble opinion.
Rattling bones and the wretch of the flesh mark the entrance to Mentau's music.
Along the way, there are lots of little like mini optionals. All right, let's sort all of our, I'll line up all of our gear with our spell powers again. Mono cold mode here. I remember you don't want to lightning bolts, flesh golems. You can totally get away with Cone of Colding them though. Cone of Cold means they take less damage, or they move slower and deal less damage. And Lightning Bolts is like casting haste on them. That is our sweet Rune Arm doing its sweet Rune Arm thing. Alright, so here is the first, like, interesting bit about this quest, or the variations, the side quests. And all of them have their own little things. But right here happens to be a secret door with a couple of golems.
A hidden
and a
glistens in the torchlight.
Okay, one golem, one mummy, and a treasure chest. There's that air elemental. I knew we got flung around, I just couldn't find it. It's a hero soul, huh? We'll get ya. Rats might not aggro on us today. So this room right here, if you get too close to this obelisk, you can get hit by those lightning bolts, and those lightning bolts will activate the flesh golems. But if you're fast, which I obviously was not fast enough this day, but if you're fast enough, you can actually just run through that room, and then they won't even recognize that you were there. They're too focused on the shenanigans of making making the flesh golems to notice that you were there. Also, if you're very fast, you can run over here and hit this rune before this goes off, and then they don't spawn, if I remember correctly. The lightning bolt doesn't go off, and then they don't do things. What is my int at? That is some crazy high heroic damage. My int is currently at 49. As long as I remember to smash the Know the Angles button, my damage is pretty good. But also keep in mind that I am currently in Shroud of the Zombie, so I'm getting an extra 20%.
Peak of Mentau's tower.
We're also using a rat catcher at the moment. Alright, same thing. There's a rune on this.
This
So get this pulled. We were not fast enough. The lightning bolt did still go off, so golems still got up. But if I was quicker, the golems would not have gotten up. Is not a long delay. See, like picking up this key is going to be 1,000 experience. Walking through this door, ooh, we missed a remnant. We gotta go get that. But walking through this door is going to be extra experience. Like, there's just experience all the way through this, through all these optionals that along the way. There's certainly not enough experience to be like, ooh, I have to do these for XP per minute. But it gives you a little bit extra bonus since the quest finished, like, before we even started this optional.
Beneath the primary assembly bay, the furnaces burn hot. Mentau must be near.
So we're at the next kind of interesting thing that happens in this quest. Pretty much. Right around this corner, and basically, there's a little... There's a doorway guarded by 2 iron golems, right? If you go in there, there is a shrine, but these 2 iron golems will activate. If you do not go in there, then these 2 iron golems do not activate, and you don't have to waste the time killing them. So, if you need the mana, just realize that you're going to also need to take care of those iron golems. If you don't need the mana, or the hit points, or whatever, the boost, it might be worth the hassle to just ignore that chest, or sorry, not chest, shrine, and keep going. Because, again, a fight avoided, right? I feel like there's air elemental right there. Alright. Now we're at the end. What we have to do is each of these pillars has a rune. So we gotta hit all these runes. Y flesh golems get poured out of this get poured out of the door here, and lightning or ball lightnings get cast on us. Which, of course, give the flesh golems the same perk as like any other lightning spell or whatever. It gives them like an equivalent of a haste. But once we light up all these runes, then we can come over here and turn on this lever. In a second or two after we hit this lever, we're going to get thrown in the air, and we're going to land up here and fight Mentau. Now, while we're in this field, we cannot cast spells, and we're going to take a little bit of damage.
Destroy the crystals. Free me.
We got to pull this lever while we're still up here. I think you have to pull that lever. Maybe you don't have to pull that lever. And then you'll get the sweet chest, shield fragment. This is the chest where you can get like the awesome end rewards that only come out of Litany. They vary depending on ending, as well as having some that can be anywhere. So like Mintal drops the Electric Haze, which is 100% fortification, greater false life belt with a colorless augment slot at level 13. So not good anymore, but used to be amazing. The Finger Necklace. The Finger Necklace gives you Fleshmaker, which is 20% healing amp and has an empty slot. Again, back in the day, used to be absolutely insane. And then Mintal's Goggles, which were Seeker 6 Necromancy and has a yellow slot. Again, today, not necessarily great, but back in the day, having Seeker on a pair of goggles was beautiful. And then, from any of these end chests and any of the optionals, you could get the Ash Boots, which were 30% striding and a green slot. Axe of the Unseen Blow, which was a hand axe that was finesse, true chaos. I guess I shouldn't say any. They have pairs, right? They have pairs that they drop out of, and some of them are all bosses. Shining Devastation, which was the old Super Muck Killer, which was a great club that was adamantine, ever bright, and did extra force damage with a red slot. The Docent Quickening comes out of Sinus and Mintal. So that's 25% striding, 10% melee alacrity, 10% range alacrity, and a blue slot on a Docent. Pretty tight. Pretty tight. So again, a lot of these items used to be up here at goodness, and now they're not quite as good. Okay, so you'll notice that we come up here and we break these crystals. So breaking these crystals flags you for the raid. Alright, you see how there in a second it says Mintal voice drips across the winds, I am free, thank you my friend. Now we have completed the Mintal part of the area. There's one for every mini boss, right? We kind of rode past them a little bit, like over here's Fleshmakers. If we turn on our pony and put on our Featherfall item, we can see the tower behind us here, and we can jump down into the Explorer Zone. Like, we are literally in the Explorer Zone. So to flag for the Abbot raid, we have to clean each of the towers. So we have to go back through, do Litany again, do a different end boss, etc. until we do all 4 end bosses. It's actually a really fun little mechanic. Sometimes it's less fun doing the same pre-quest 3 times or 4 times and then knocking out the second half of the quest. But that also means there's, you know, a larger series of quests to get, or chests to get ransacked. It's part of the reason why the experience is such an efficient experience run, and why that first quest can be super short if done really well. So again, it's one of the reasons I love Litany. It's my favorite quest in the game, and I hope now that you've had a chance to kind of see it through my eyes, I hope you guys love it too. All right, if you have questions, comments, etc., leave them in the chat box below, and of course, like this video if you can. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks for watching. Toodles.